It's Monday. And we're back. We're back doing Ask a Traffic Cop. My name is Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. Glad that you are here. And if you're just getting in, we're still glad that you're just getting in. Whatever it is, we're here to answer your traffic and police questions. And we have fun doing it. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about whatever you bring up. I mean, we got some basic stuff. Did you see any good movies? What's your favorite donut? You know, that's the standard fare. But we're going to get into whatever you want to talk about. I do want to talk about some comments, some things that came up over the weekend. I had a lot of fun. I must have answered over 1,000 comments on TikTok alone. And some of those I posted on social media because they were very, very entertaining and frustrating. Entertaining and frustrating. I mean, some of them are just funny. But the ones that showcase some scary truths that people just don't get it. People don't get that speed is dangerous, that you have to stop for stop signs, and some other stuff. But like I said, we'll talk about it. First things first, you're seeing us, so that's good. But I want you to know that we're on a bunch of different platforms because we are on, what do we have here? I'm going to click the button so you have the graphics to support it. It's taking a long time. I need a new computer is what I need. Computers age quickly. Did you know that? Press the button. Let's see if it responds. Hey, there you go. We are on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now called X. And if you're on those, that's fantastic. We're happy you're here. If you want to ask us questions, some are better than others. Now, X now supports questions. So if you're on Twitter, X, whatever, you should be able to see us, and we should be able to see your messages. If you're on Instagram, I should press this button. See, there's an extra button with it. I don't like Instagram, to be quite honest. I'm not a fan. Sorry, Instagram fam, but I don't like it. But we want to be here for the 3 people who watch us there. If you want a better user experience, I would suggest going to youtube.TrafficCop.ca. That'll take you right to our YouTube page. Of course, Twitter is amazing too. TikTok's amazing. I can't believe I just confused Twitter and TikTok, but whatever. It's Monday. I'm having a case on Mondays. So come over to YouTube or TikTok and join us in the live. I see Emma and Antoine. Is it Antoine? I think I'm pronouncing that properly. Hello to Antoine and good morning to Emma, the first 2 in the live. If you would be so kind as to tap the screen until your fingers go numb, that helps us share the live with others. That's a big thing. If you're not already a follower, please follow. If you don't already share our content, please share it. Our goal here is to share good information about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff with everybody, everywhere. And I've been going over some statistics, looking over the year-over-year kind of growth. Some impressive stuff, I think, in terms of where we've gotten to and just sort of that continual ladder of growth. It's pretty cool. We'll talk about that in a few. One of the things I want to talk about this week, although not today, I want to talk about how many tickets we've issued in the city of Toronto. People always talk about the fact or suggest that there's not enough enforcement going on. And I think that more enforcement is needed, but we'll talk about, maybe we'll do that in a little while. We'll talk about just how many tickets we've issued. A little guessing game going on, see what you come up with. If you don't want to watch us live or can't watch us live, know that you can also download and synchronize on podcast platforms by Apple Podcast, Spotify, even iHeartRadio. You can get this show after we've been live, after it's finished. We'll download it, we'll put it up on podcast so you can synchronize it to your device and then listen to it recorded while you're driving. That way you're not breaking any laws and you're not burning any data, which is pretty cool. Good morning, Sean, and good morning to the amazing community. Good morning, Brandon. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being the first person in the live a couple minutes before we went and started the show. So you were the first in. By the way, you mentioned community, and we do have a small community that if you go to telegram.TrafficCop.ca, we're on Telegram, and we chat all the time, sharing stuff, things, jokes, whatever you got. Questions, food places. We're talking about food places over the weekend. Places, restaurants, that's what they call those food places. Kayla Jacona's coming in with greetings and salutations. We've got a Yogi Berra. What is this? We got quotes from Yogi Berra. We've got here, what is this? Brandon wants to know if the license plate behind me means I pulled over Kit and pulled his plates for driving with red flashing light in the front of the Trans Am. I am a big fan of, Knight Rider was not better than Chips, but It was definitely a huge part of my childhood. I really liked that television. Who watched Knight Rider as a kid? Who watches Knight Rider now? With the Hoff. Is it the Hoff? Yeah. Okay, Northern Pike says, hello, beautiful world. Okay, we got a dad joke from Northern Pike for later. Tien says, good morning, everyone. Stephen Bell says, good morning, Sean. I got a dad joke to flag for later from Kayla Draconis. Michael says, did Sean forget to start the YouTube? Did the YouTube not kick off? Hang on a second. Let's check to see the status of our channel. I pressed it too quickly. Hang on. Everything should be on. If we're not seeing it on, that is a problem. Oh, things have hung. Hopefully you're still with us. Paid unresponsive. That's not good. Freeze. I'm rebooting. Oh, come on. That was mildly embarrassing. We went for a full-on, had to reload the screen. Hopefully, this means that I didn't lose. Oh no, it looks like I've got everybody back here. Yeah, if YouTube's not working, that's a problem. I'll have to look at it on a different computer. Tech support. I am my own tech support. I'll have you know. So that is always interesting. Oh, on my Mac, everything just looks great. All right. No, it seems to be working. One last check. Let's see here. Maybe it's broken. Who knows what happens under the hood? We press the buttons and hope it works out okay. Let's see here. I see. No, it seems to be working. I got 10 people watching right now on YouTube. Double checking. No, it's working. Maybe he meant like, no. Anyways, not working for him, but it's working for everybody else. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. Michael says, nice picture. This is the picture. The cover picture is me on a motorcycle on the pad, training pad. Let's see here. We've got, was it Case of the Mondays as an office? Now, I don't know if well, I don't know where the references come from. YouTube good, started a bit late, now it's breaking up. Okay, weird. Took 5 minutes and suddenly, there we go. Okay, you're now talking. Lagging, maybe it's lagging. YouTube now working. Okay, we're getting all the feedback here. Let's jump into, okay, apparently now the reboot really helped it. That is good. Well, it's always fun to have things break when you're live. Vision Zero Enforcement Team, that is where I start the show, or at least the part that I have to get out of the way, and that's what I'm going to do. So the Vision Zero Enforcement Team, VZ as we like to call it, is a group of dedicated officers who focus on traffic safety and traffic education just a little differently. They do it one ticket at a time. See, when people don't pay attention to the good work we do on social media, or don't want to pay attention to the rules that any licensed driver should know, ought to have known, well, they go after the big four. They're looking for people who are choosing to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, drive while impaired. Because those particular activities that drivers choose to engage in, yeah, they lead to serious injury and death, and that's not okay. We want Vision Zero, zero injuries, zero deaths on our roads. That's the goal. Anything less is unacceptable. And when we say about unacceptable, we understand that minor fender benders are going to happen. It's part of the deal. The ones that lead to serious injury and death are preventable. And they're totally unacceptable. See? Today being the 5th of February, officers are focused on 12 Division and 53 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Weston, Mount Dennis, Rockcliffe, Smythe, Lawrence Park, Young, Eglinton, Rosedale, Leaside, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. And we post these on our social media platforms. We are on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on Facebook for the every single day post about where the officers are focusing their time. We do this because we want the people who live in those neighborhoods to know that we're there helping to make their areas safer for everybody. All right. With that out of the way, the bill is paid. We don't have advertising, but it's kind of like advertising. They're the only ones we got to talk about. We are going to look at Haley. Haley says, thoughts on the cadet program. Have you noticed once students complete the program, they are getting jobs at the OPP? Well, first off, I have to tell you that I work for the Toronto Police, not the OPP, so I have no idea whether their program is good, bad, or otherwise. Now, we don't have, a cadet program per se. We have special constables, parking enforcement officers, many of whom transitioned to police constable afterwards. Some have previously called it an unofficial cadet program. Maybe it is. I know that the cadet program of yesteryear is gone, at least for the Toronto Police. Maybe it'll come back one day. Do I think it's a good concept? I was here as an auxiliary, and that was also seen once upon a time as a cadet-ish program. Cadets get paid, auxiliaries don't. Either way, I would just apply to get hired, and there's no reason not to. Once upon a time, I think you had to be 25 to carry a firearm. So people who were under 25, maybe it was 24, had to be cadets. I think that's part of it. We're going way back in time. That's no longer a thing. All right. Okay, everyone has confirmed that things are working. What isn't working, from what the looks of it is the link to, TikTok. That's what I'm thinking of. Chat, let me just see if I can fix this. We will see if we can do it. I'll go into the bot, turn this off, reload the page, turn it on. Maybe it'll work. Don't know. Can't say. All right, we'll see if that starts updating, but TikTok is not working, which means manual mode is what I'm in, and we're going to go and see what we can do. Scrolling back is what I'm going to do. Mondays are really affecting everybody, aren't they? All right, copying this over to the magical word because I'm going to copy it. I didn't want to go into developer mode. No, turn off developer mode. Did you know that Chrome has a developer mode and you can see all sorts of cool things if you use it? Mind you, you don't need it if you don't want to muddy the waters with stuff that you don't use, but just saying things. And sometimes it launches when you don't want to. And Word takes a long time. Yes, once again, I need a new computer. One with a powerhouse of a processor. All right. While that comes up, we'll put up the response from Haley, who says, thank you for answering. I was between applying for the auxiliary program or cadet program, but I applied for the cadet program. Hey, listen, wherever you can get started, get started. That's the big thing. Paste. That's what I want to do. Here we go. Pasting. And we're going to start with some questions. Things that are here. So, why are speed cameras put up everywhere? What is this? Why are speed cameras put everywhere? Another sick way to rob more taxpayers' money. That is why, that is the question that is coming from TikTok. The first question, anyway. If the computer wants to, there we go, cursor here. Wow, we're really pushing the limits of this processor, I think. Maybe I need to go back down to low resolution. You can be pixelated Sean on your screen. Okay, we'll wait for things to pop up, but here's the deal. They don't catch people who aren't breaking the law. So you can avoid any kind of ticket by doing the right thing, regardless of whether the police are there or cameras there. Now, why are there more? There's more around because people continue to break the law, put lives at risk doing so. So yeah, they put up more cameras, or I think there's twice as many as there were, but there are nowhere near enough, in my opinion. I think they should be on every road, every stop sign, every red light, everywhere, both red light and speed enforcement. We can't be everywhere. There's not enough police officers to go around. So when people say there's not enough, and this is really coinciding with the message I was going to talk about already, because if I load up our X, and I'll show you the post I made. It's amazing. This technology allows me to press buttons and do things. It's so cool. I entertain myself, sorry. Search for myself. Things are really going slow here. So we'll give it a second because apparently either the internet sucks or just my computer. Does it sound like I'm griping over my computer? Skipping here. Things are just going really, really slow. And scrolling. Here we go. I'm going to go back to my own. It was a post by someone who said, I got a ticket for speeding from a camera. Holy smokes. It's just going real slow. Hopefully you still see me, but yeah, I'm not. Very frustrating. Come on, TikTok or Twitter. I can't. It's all the same now. Try this again. Here we go. That time it seemed to get it. Come on, post. Boy, I posted a lot of stuff. Here we go. 1 and 2, and there we go. Now I can finally share the page with you. That's the case of the Mondays. Here we go. Sharing so you too can see. I'm actually asking you to do yet another thing on the already not working very well platform. Okay. So the question is, why did I get a damn ticket from a camera for going 14 over? $70. Really? This is a shocker to this person. I'm forever shocked at the shock. Yeah, I don't get it. You got a ticket because you were speeding and that you thought 14 over was acceptable. You know, this is just, yeah. And this is why we can't have nice things. So people are breaking the law. Cameras are being put everywhere because people break the law. Yeah. Michael says that if he wins the lottery, he will get me a better computer as a donation. That's awesome. Well, you know you got a supportive community when they want you to have a better computer. I have a better computer. It's network and I have a great Macintosh that would do everything, but it's not a secure Macintosh. Okay, Paul says I think that the cadet program is great, and it doesn't matter what police department. Listen, it's a thing. They're bringing it back to other police services because they need to find people and start, I guess, early in terms of getting younger folks involved in the program instead of waiting. We used to hire the average person at 30. So obviously we now need to get people younger because we can't wait till they get older. We need them now. We do. We need a lot of police officers. We have uniforms that need filling. Vehicle Valley says, good morning, Mr. Shapiro. How are you this fine morning? Technologically speaking, I'm not doing fantastic, but personally, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I brewed the last pot of coffee with the beans that I bought for the weekend, and it's just spectacular coffee. Made it this morning. Still okay. Happy Monday. Hope this week brings blessings and strength. That's from Melanie Pico. Thank you so much for the message. And then we have a couple people following us. Okay. And then the continuation of Penguin's comments is saying it's a money grab. Okay, police enforcement of traffic laws. It's an educational opportunity with a consequence that should remind and reinforce that breaking the laws costs you. I mean, people say it's a money grab. Would you prefer like 6 months in jail? 2 days in jail? How much would be appropriate? Paying a fine is an alternative to other measures that hopefully drives the message home that you need to follow the rules before bad things happen. But I love the people who always blame others and say, it's obviously not for safety. It's just because we need to fill the coffers. No, enforcement of traffic laws costs more than any fine is going to bring. Your $110 fine or whatever you get for your offense is nowhere near enough or what it costs to put the enforcement out and hold the court system and the filing and all the hands that touch that paper. It is a cost, not a profitable situation. It's a costly one. I love the back conversation here. People just arguing about whether speeding is speeding and so on. Good morning to Nameless. And Vehicle Valley says, Sean, did you hear Volley's coming back? I have. Now, we had special perks with Volley because we were a community group, because we were doing great stuff. The developers and the original team said, hey, not only do we want to give you, it's free for everybody, but we want to give you expanded stuff, and we were kind of beta testing. It was really cool. All the notes that I've seen so far in regards to the return is that it's going to be paid spaces. So I don't know if I can make the case for getting a paid space. I don't know if they want us to beta test again. Hey, Volley, if you're listening, we could beta test for you again, but we'll see what happens. At very least, we do have a Telegram group, telegram.TrafficCop.ca. Come join us there, and we do have the ability of porting in your stuff. I should probably open up Telegram in case there's a message there. Let's do that. Applications, Telegram. I'll launch Telegram just in case. We can see there's like 12 of us there. It's not a big group, but it is a magical group. And I see, I can't wait. If I have time today, it may have to be tomorrow. I have some videos that I need to stitch. Like I need to comment on these videos that people have been sending me. Just amazing stuff. And then there's the Apple Pro. People are like, you got to talk about Apple Pro. And first off, I think it's cool. I want to try one. I may want to buy one. $3,500 US, might not be buying one, but I think it's really cool tech. Justine was wearing it in her swimming pool. I saw that on Threads. I don't really use Threads very much, but I was on there this morning. And people are walking around with it. It's augmented reality, the potential for more distractions while walking. And certainly as someone, Chase sent me a video. I haven't looked at it yet, but it looks like someone driving whilst wearing them. Bad. Screen visible to driver. I'm going to say that's the same as handheld communication device at that point. Handheld entertainment device, head worn. I think it's going to fall into the same thing. $615 is coming your way in terms of a fine. Yeah. I mean, I think it meets the qualifications. It's a computing platform. It's no different than holding your iPad. You're looking at a screen, even though you can see through it. Bad idea. I can't share my screen with you. Otherwise, because it's a different computer all over the place. Yeah, there's a whole dialogue here about that, some comic books. I don't see any voice messages, though, which is what I'm looking for. Voice or video that we want to play. Okay, moving back over to questions. We have Michael says $70 isn't bad for 14 over. It doesn't pay for the camera or Kayla's office who manages the Toronto photo enforcement. Yes, Kayla is involved with the city's traffic management center, which is possibly secret squirrel stuff. Do we tell everybody? I think we just let the whole world know. The deal is that the fines for cameras are doubled because it's community safety zone. That's why it's more expensive than what it would be if you were ticketed by in another area. Shane's dad wants to know how many mistakes can a ticket have before it's no longer a valid ticket? I'll put that over here. And here we go. Paste. The question is a good one, and it depends on what the mistake is. So there are flaws that are considered fatal flaws, and a fatal flaw is like date and location. That's usually a pretty big mistake. Color of vehicle could be wrong. License plate can be wrong. Like there's all sorts of things can be amended in court, but time, date, location, those are generally fatal flaws. So it depends. It's not based on 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out and it's no longer valid. It is interesting, and all those things still require you to take it to court. You can't just say this is wrong. It's no longer valid. You're going to have to challenge it in court. Ryan, the Thin White Line Interceptor says, "Good morning, sir. Is there a fine for driving too slowly on 400 series highways?" There is a charge for unnecessary slow driving. It applies on any highway, including the 400 series highways. That's if you're going so slow that you're interfering with traffic. And I don't mean you're doing the speed limit in the right lane is going too slow. That is an inappropriate use of that charge if it was being late. You can't be going slower than the clown who is speeding. That's not unnecessary slow driving. If you're doing the speed limit or close to it, like being under it, 95, 90, you're not unnecessarily slow driving. The person who's driving at 140 is speeding. So don't get confused. People get really messed up about the concept of driving with the flow of traffic. There is no law that says you have to drive with the flow. And the law does say the normal rate. Well, the normal rate is not speeding, because that's against the law. So the normal rate can't be above that of the law. It just doesn't work. There is a law that is enforceable. It says slower traffic must stay to the right. There is a charge for it. I keep losing it and finding it and losing it again. But that's something that Carrie Schmidt keeps talking about. And it's true. If you're doing the speed limit or you're just going slower than everybody else, even if everybody else is speeding, stay to the right. Why? Because the clowns who are speeding are going to try and then pass you on the right-hand side, and they're going to dangerously do so. And they are going to cause a collision, but you will have been the speed bump that they go around. Not only will you be putting yourself at risk, but you're going to be putting others at risk. Because in a roundabout way, you've created a situation where the clown has to pass you on the right. They're wrong, but don't be the speed bump for them. Be out of the way. Stay to the right. Otherwise, the OPP will ticket you for that. I will always focus on the speeder. Always, always, always. But they're not wrong to go after people who are causing, maybe they are. I don't know. It's such a contentious thing. We do things different. Okay. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, from Big Jeff Fresh. Good morning from Big Jeff Fresh. Still no TikTok integration. That's disappointing. That Big Jeff Fresh is on Twitch. And sometimes the logos are loading. We're having a lot of tech issues today. I see Chase over in one side. Oh, there it goes. We have a question from Chase. If I ever wanted to apply to TPS, does 2 to 3 years of consistent Ask a Traffic Cop viewership stand out on the application? You know what? I don't know. I don't think we've ever had anyone include that as a prerequisite or study stuff. But I'd vouch for you. I think I can safely say that you're here almost every show. So yeah. Well, when you decide to apply, you let me know. Are you legally allowed to remove your muffler or resonator? Thanks. That's coming in from YouTube. Dylan. Dylan? Yeah, it's Dylan. Now, can you legally remove it? You could remove it, but you can't drive on the road anymore. You have to have a muffler and a resonator to operate with a muffler and a resonator. It's part of the required exhaust system. $110 if you're driving without a muffler. Resonator is something that reduces sound, so you're probably going to also be seeing unnecessary noise charges to go along with your removal, but straight pipes are not legal. And that's what happens when you take, like a catback straight pipe is what's going to happen if you remove your muffler and resonator. Not legal. Linda says, good morning. Thank you for all you do. You're very welcome. We love what we do. That's why we're here. Okay, Tens has a parking ticket question, and then said I forgot the queue. That's okay. We'll let it go. But here's the question. I got a parking ticket when I had a valid parking pass. I disputed it with proof online. It was never resolved. If I check the ticket, it's still there for months now. What can I do? You said you disputed it with proof online. Does that mean you went to court, or you just sent them a letter saying, hey, I don't deserve this ticket? Because you can't just say that. Like, you have to either speak to someone and they confirm that it's being resolved, but just sending them a message or applying to have it applying to have a meeting doesn't count. So I would contact the courts. Contact the courts, speak to a prosecutor or administrator in the office and see what the story is. And don't worry about the queue. Okay. We got Brazy who says, good morning. Bahir says, what is this? I have a question for you, sir. I got a warning. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's put this on the screen. We're going to put it on the screen. Copy this, paste it here. I've started calling speeders clowns, and Kayla says, I feel offended on behalf of clowns everywhere. Okay, so here we go. Bear says, I have a question for you, sir. I got a warning from officer due to my lights off in the dark weather. Okay, you got a warning, and then the follow-up question is, does it affect my insurance? So you could have received a ticket, which would have impacted your insurance. A warning, however, does not impact your insurance. And Emma was on the money and already said warnings don't affect your insurance. Ching Ching says, or asks, copy, paste, here we go. And send. So the question is, hi, is the darkest tint allowed in the front 20 or 30%? This is a really good question. I have videos of this on all the platforms in regards to tint. It depends. It depends what we're talking about. If you're talking about certification levels, then 30% light blockage is permitted and 70% of light has to get through to get certified. If you If you're beyond 30%, you're going to lose your license plates for an unsafe motor vehicle. That's what happens when we catch you. If you're talking about the charge of obscure interior of motor vehicle with color or reflective tint, it's not a specific number. However, if we can't see you because it's dark outside and your tint is dark enough, even if it's legal for certification, if it's too dark and obscures the interior so we can't see inside, it's against the law, $110 ticket. If it's reflective tint, $110 ticket. That's the deal. What's the point of my story? Point of my story is 20% is probably a whole lot safer in terms of not getting a ticket. Now, 20%, I've got a video that actually shows you legal and not legal tint. The legal tint is not very dark, but it may not look dark in a lit room. At nighttime, legal tint is dark. So if you really, really want to reduce the amount of light coming into your eyes, wear sunglasses. That's the best thing. But some tint is okay. Just make sure it's light tint. And most people would say, why would I waste money on light tint? People can still see me picking my nose. Yeah, I can't help you with that. Paul says better than clowns is Fonzanoons. and Kayla says a better name for them is Agents of Chaos. And I do like that. But chaos, it makes me think of Get Smart. Because wasn't that Agents of Chaos? They were Agents of Chaos. Chaos was the organization in Get Smart, I'm pretty sure. Somebody wants to know about immigration. We don't talk about immigration. That's nothing to do with my driving content here. And I'm him. That's a good username, I think. Let's paste this question here. I do like it when the scraping tool works and I don't have to cut and paste and it just works. So much better when that works. Okay. Is eating when driving considered distracted driving in Canada? Well, here's the deal. It depends. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. Well, no, it does depend. Depends on what province you're in. In Alberta, it's distracted driving. Anything can be distracted driving in Alberta. Or is that, yeah, they've got very different laws. Every province, different rules. In Ontario, it does not constitute distracted driving. In Ontario, it could be careless driving. You're really into that, sandwich, whatever you're eating, bowl of soup, two hands. Yeah, you're talking about careless driving, not distracted driving. So different laws. There's definitely an option, a way to deal with it. But yeah, it depends. Where are you is. And the John Moore, in response to Kayla, the John Moore question, I don't have a side street yet, but I'll find out. Okay. Flex says, a parking enforcement give me a parking ticket for stopping on the shoulder for 5 minutes in my car. If you were illegally parked, you were illegally parking. Whether you're there for 5 minutes, 1 minute, like if you're illegally parked in a no stopping, no standing zone, then you get a ticket. There's no what's the problem here? You got a parking ticket because you parked illegally. Greg Marshall says, good morning. Good morning to you too. Question about exhausts. Is there a decibel limit that exhausts are allowed to be, or is the discretion to the officer? Here's another depends question, and it's twofold now. Still got to paste. Here we go. No, yep, here we go. Okay, so it's a two-part answer, because there's going to be the unnecessary noise side of the house. Boy, this is taking a long time. There we go. There's the unnecessary noise part of the house, and that deals with the fact that if it's unnecessary to the safe operation of your vehicle, you're eligible for a ticket. Pretty simple. If you're talking about the, truly just decibel rating, well, we have a bylaw. And the bylaw says, this is City of Toronto specific, by the way, if you are operating a motor vehicle that at idle, wrong button, cancel, here we go, at idle is 92 decibels, you're eligible for a $500 ticket in Toronto. It used to be motorcycles only, now it's all motor vehicles, they changed it. If you are at above idle, anything other than idle, and it's 96 decibels or above, you're eligible for a ticket, $500 by law. So, and then you could also, I guess, you could also simultaneously achieve the unnecessary noise one, because that is too noisy. All right. Scrolling to catch up to where I was. Here we go. I cut and paste to get more of the questions coming in from TikTok. Love it when the technology don't work. I thought I knew bad drivers until my... Okay, here we go. So this is Zombie who says, I thought I knew bad drivers until my kids started school. School drop-off has the wildest drivers. There's a lot of people who think they're great drivers. Just ask them. But the truth is, a lot of people just aren't good drivers. And there's a lot at work here because I'm constantly hearing from people saying, we need faster speed limits. It's too slow. Yeah, it's not too slow. First of all, we need to get things ready for the slowest common denominator, the worst drivers on the road. And there's lots of not great drivers out there. So that's part of it. Second part of it is that you need to we need to upgrade the standards. I think we need stricter testing because people not so good. Okay, we got Randy who says, morning. Morning, Sean. Randy started as a cadet with the OPP in 1972, spent 1 year assigned to a coach officer, found out lots of ins and outs of the job, turned PC in 72 with a run at OPC, 31-year career. And we thank you for it. Contributing 31 years, that's awesome. And it's not like that 20 and out like the States. 20 or 25 and out people. We do real time here. But I'm glad to hear that the cadet program was a good program. And then they got rid of it, right? Now it's back again. It's cool. Michael wants to know about transporting a .22 caliber firearm on the range when on the TTC. That's a really good question. I don't have a good answer for you. In a vehicle, I know all about transferring, firearms. But on the TTC, we've had situations where people brought rifle cases onto the subway and trained and scared people. Well, that's a problem. That's one of the reasons that the gun club in the city of Toronto got shut down. There used to be one at Union Station. I'm pretty sure it's because a gentleman took his rifle to the range on the TTC that sort of sparked the whole conversation and had a whole bunch of people really, really, really not happy. And then there was a person who took the airsoft machine gun looking device uncased on the TTC, and that responded with like a citywide assist of armed response, like gun drawn point. Gunpoint arrest. See, firearms in TTC, bad idea, I think. What was this? What happens? Oh, scrolling back. I got to go further back. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Here we go. Oh, okay. We got Emma responding to that one. Cool. Greg Marshall, in 1979, applied for a carry permit as a security representative at 19. It was withdrawn because they changed the rules. Okay. What's the threshold for speed cameras? Do they flash at you one or two over when they start? Well, the answer, quite honestly, is I don't know. I don't know because, here we go, put it on screen. I don't know because they don't tell us. It really has nothing to do with us. It's a city enforced program, monitored, implemented, however you want to word it, nothing to do with us. And if you assumed a couple of kilometers over that you'd get away with it, and some jurisdictions may change it. Maybe it's none. It's not zero tolerance from what I gather, but don't speed. Pay attention to their speed. That's a big thing. Okay. I get that question a lot, though. In fact, if you want to see a cool episode of TPS Traffic Jam, that's our podcast, you can go to check it out. And I have an episode specifically speaking with the Automated Enforcement Group, which is awesome. It was an awesome episode. That's not the button I wanted to press. Here we go. Question from Goji. What happens if your license plate is unknowingly covered with snow while driving? Is it legal? So if it's happening actively while you're driving because it's a really bad weather day, then yeah, no one's gonna pull you over and said, every 8 feet you need to clean your license plate. But the truth is that we can generally tell between active road grime, and it's very different than that of packed on snow from overnight. Clean your snow off your vehicle every day, like whenever you're going to get on the road. because that is something I would ticket people for. People pack it on in perp. You can see people, there's handprints when they're packing their license plate to cover it before going on the 407. Not okay. Hubertio says hello from Kick. I think you're the first person to message us on Kick today. Hello back. We have some discussions about more firearm stuff. I'll let you guys discuss it on your own. Stephen Bell says, on a very sunny day, wear sunglasses and it's still too bright, I put a sun visor down as well. Listen, you've got to manage it so it works out well. But people say, well, what if I get into a collision because the sun is in my eyes? It's not my fault. The sun is there. Well, the sun we have no control over. If it's so bright that you can't safely operate your motor vehicle, you need to pull off the road and safely park until it's such time that it's safe. You can't just drive not being able to see. So that excuse doesn't always work. But sunglasses, polarized lenses might help, more with fishing than possibly driving. But visor, do what you got to do. Some combination thereof. Cannot tint your windshield at all, though. That's illegal. What is happening around Toronto? I don't know what Spencer's talking about. Something about 50 people doing something, but I don't know what we're talking about. Hello from the UK, Great Britain. That's Ryan. Hello. Howdy doody. How's it going? Good to see you. Glad you're tuning in. I was typing up a report talking about our stats, and the fact that we have an international show with an audience that is truly international, and you're just proving the point. I want to come back to the UK. I had a lot of fun there. I was there in May. I just typed Alice. I didn't mean to type that. Welcome. Somebody just jumped into the Telegram group. Okay, what am I pulling up here? I wanted to tell you stats. I thought it was an interesting stat. We're over 3,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube now, which is a lot, but not anywhere near the 651,000 people on our TikTok. But YouTube is very different. What is interesting is the majority of our views come from people who don't subscribe. So that's also very interesting. So if you are watching us, please subscribe. We'd like to be able to send you notifications when we go live. It's cool. It's cool for us. We get to brag about how many new followers we have. And it's all about bragging rights. It has nothing to do with money because we don't get paid from it. We get paid as police officers, not from the platforms that we post stuff to. 244 says, I want to send gifts. Please turn it on. I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. But we don't allow gifts. And we actually were instrumental in having TikTok change it so that government accounts cannot receive gifts. Receiving money, and we did. We had like $150 that came in when we first started because people were gifting us on our live streams. Well, it creates an unusual and uncomfortable situation because we're the police and we can't receive those. So we donated it, and that happened. And now we can't get any more, which is great. There was actually always a feature that was supposed to work but didn't work for whatever reason. We turned it off, and then things went wonky. So, yeah, we can't do it, but I appreciate that you want to. Give it to charity. Give it to something that we support. Like, Special Olympics Ontario is a great place to throw money at. And that's what I hope everyone did over the weekend, getting those magical Choose to Include donuts. Mm-hmm. I like Michael's creative suggestion about guitar cases for firearms. It worked for the mob movies. Let's see here. Randy says, we might need more retesting of Ontario drivers perhaps every 5 years on road and classroom. So that's an interesting concept. Many in the industry, many professional driving instructors have questioned or suggested it. I think people's minds would melt if we asked them to retest every 5 years. But I think it's a good thing. I really do. I think that if you had to go do a driving test and ensure that you did, but here's the problem. Is it because people don't know the answer to the question, or because they don't care what the laws are? Because I think a lot of our problems are not because they don't know any better. It's because they actively choose to engage in behavior that is dangerous. So testing won't change that. But stricter enforcement would. Randy says, there are plastic shaded visors that attach to a vehicle sun visor available to purchase at Canadian Tire that allow you to bypass or augment your sunglasses. And they wouldn't be illegal because you're not tinting your windshield. Okay. Michael was saying serious question about firearms transportation. The deal is if you're conforming to the storage rules, it's a disabled, unrestricted firearm. I don't think you've got a problem doing it, but I think your rifle case being an oboe or a cello case or whatever it is, might be the way to go. It's not illegal. It's just about the fact that everyone loses their mind if they think you have a firearm, which is reasonable. You don't want to create panic because that's a problem. Okay. Are you allowed to make a left turn from a stop sign in the middle lane to merge later when it's super busy? No. Middle lanes that would be an improper turn, unsafe turn, improper turn. So no, you can't do that. You need to be in a right turn lane to make a right turn, a left lane or the leftmost lane to make a left turn, unless there's two left turn lanes. But a middle lane is usually a through lane, and if you're making the turn to avoid waiting in line or just because you want to push people out of the way type thing, that's aggressive driving. It's not okay. You're going to cause a collision that you're going to be entirely responsible for. Question from Chase. Do you know how a speed camera would work if you were towing a trailer and that was the only plate visible? Doesn't the speed charge only apply to motor vehicles? So if they don't have that plate, it would be associated, I imagine, to the registered owner of that vehicle. Like that plate is registered still to a person. I'm going to go out on a limb and maybe Akela could shed light on it. I've never been asked that question, I don't think. Yeah. It's still registered to somebody, and the owner of that trailer would be the one getting the ticket. Interesting, if you're towing a rental trailer, I imagine they're going to have a lot of fun with you. Oh. Need water. 9 minutes to go. And I need to start prepping for the auto show. I have some new TVs here that I need to put together. Now, I say put together, I need to mount them to these two displays. Excuse me, the traffic services displays, because they're coming with us to the show. We're going to bring 3 TVs in total, but I got to make sure everything works. And that's going to be what's happening this afternoon for a little bit. Which also reminds me, stand by while I text somebody. I don't usually text. Excuse me. Boss is in. Okay. Important message. Boss, is it illegal to have lights on your tire where the air goes in? That's Josh Barbosa who wants to know. And the answer is, I would avoid it. Why didn't that work? There we go. I'd avoid it. It's not something that looks that good. Most of them are made out of aluminum. Usually your valve stem is brass, and then, the two metals react and they seize permanently and you can't put more air in your tire. That's bad. If you get plastic ones, most of them just look silly. But I don't think you're going to get a ticket necessarily for it. I just don't think it's a really good idea. Is it possible? Is it possible to get a ticket? Sure. The interpretation, depending on the color, could be that you're doing something illegal and you might find yourself having to explain it in court. So I would avoid it. That's just me. I wouldn't write a ticket for it because I don't think it's sending enough light power to really be an issue. We have I think we're pronouncing that correctly. Takar. And Akela says, trailers never got an automated speed ticket, but the trailer owner would get the ticket if that's a rental company they recovered from. Yeah, so there you go. Akela's on it. And then we've got who says, if someone was charged with stunt driving because of a medical emergency, he begged for an ambulance. You're not allowed to speed, even if it's a medical emergency. 911 is always the answer. I know American viewers say, well, I'm not spending 10 grand to get to the hospital when I can just drive. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're in the States. I would suggest you always call 911 and at very least tell them, hey, I'm driving towards the hospital. And even in Canada, if you're in a remote area, call 911, tell them what you're doing. Let them give you direction. If they say speed, then you're taking direction from them. Their word is the same as getting the direction from the chief, honestly. Now, if you are if you are if you're going and we pull you over and there's a medical emergency verifiable, we're going to call an ambulance. You're not driving any further anyway. We're calling an ambulance on your behalf because the person who's having the medical emergency still needs medical attention. Will you get charged for it? That's going to depend on the officer. I've done a number of videos that upset a whole lot of people, like possibly hundreds of thousands of people. The deal is that your emergency doesn't mean everybody else on the road has to be put at risk. The problem is when you choose to speed and drive aggressively or stunt drive because you got to get somewhere, the problem is that you could hurt somebody else. You could cause another collision and never make it to the hospital. Something that many people really don't get is ambulances are not taxis. They are not medical taxis. They don't just say, okay, let's get you somewhere. They drive and the passenger, reads their smartphone. They're actively performing medical procedures and keeping the patient stable to get to the hospital. They're sometimes administering medication. Sometimes they're working on stopping bleeding. Like, they're doing stuff. You're not doing that stuff usually while you're driving somebody, especially if it's yourself or anyone else. Like you're not taking a stable patient or stabilizing them, maintaining their safety while you're taking them, and you're not a professional driver. So all I'm trying to say is you're risking other people. Call an ambulance, call 911, speak to them, take direction, and then, I'm going to back up. The most important thing you can do besides calling for help is have some first aid training. That could really change things. Because you could be doing things. Anyway, this is a topic that bugs me because people just say, well, it's important. I got an emergency. I'm going. So don't risk other people's lives. If you got to drive and you're going to drive to the hospital because it's 5 minutes away, drive safely. Drive legally. Is there some kind of law or issue with pickup trucks and tow trucks having these massive antennas like 4 feet high? If they're properly secured, I'm talking about ham radio stuff. Usually having them straight up. I'm not aware of anything that's an issue. Most operators tie down the top of the whip so it doesn't bang into stuff, but I'm not aware of any rule. Let's see here. Kira says, I meant left turning into the middle lane of a larger street as trying to left turn into the proper lane during rush hour is almost impossible. So you need to make a turn to the appropriate lane, otherwise it's still an improper turn. So I took your question as starting from the middle lane, but if you finish in the wrong lane, you're also breaking the rules. Now, if you get to the correct lane and you've effectively lined up, but now you're stuck in the intersection, now you change lanes to go to the lane because you're stuck in the intersection, that's the only place to go, I think it's reasonable. Somebody else may say you've improperly made that turn. Truth is, you shouldn't make the turn until there's somewhere for you to go. So if there's no place for you to go, you shouldn't be making the turn at all. Any updates on the next Ask a Chief? No, I don't have it. Lots of busy stuff happening. Chief's got a pretty busy schedule right now. And to be quite honest, I'm waiting until there is a nice new table right behind me. Facilities, the people who do our ordering furniture stuff have ordered me a new table. That table is for the podcasting and interviews and nice, comfortable place for the chief to sit. Instead of having him stand up next to me here, I think we have to have the nice, the nice space. So that's the last piece that is waiting to make the studio complete. And then when that is here, then we'll start with the whole asking the chief to come by. And hopefully we will have moved into, quieter time. But he's a busy dude. Okay. It's 2 minutes to. I'm going to look for some magical questions. If you're still trying to get your questions in, don't, because I'm looking at stuff that's already posted and I've already put into my Word document, so we won't have time to look for new ones. Owen says felony speed crimes. Wild Child says, so what gives you the legal right to take their vehicles? Are we talking about stunt driving? The law gives us the legal right to take the vehicles. That's what happens. Vehicle Valley, pay your so Vehicle Valley says you must pay your camera tickets, otherwise you could lose your car. No, we don't take your car for camera tickets. In fact, what will happen, those are not against the driver's license, so they would prevent you from renewing your plates. That is what the consequence of not paying your automated enforcement tickets is. We don't seize vehicles for that. And then Greg Marshall jumps in and says that. Says what I just said. Can I put my DRL purple and keep my normal lights white? You're talking about your driving lights? your fog lights purple? No, you can't. White light and amber light to the front, those are the only options. Meow Mix says, good morning, Fuzz. The Fuzz is what was that? What was the Hot Fuzz? That was the movie from one of my favorite comics whose name escapes me. I love it. He did Shaun of the Dead. He did Hot Fuzz too. So the question from Meow Mix is, can I do donuts and fun driving on private property? Not in the province of Ontario. Here, it is most definitely against the law to do that. Don't do that. Not lawful. Take your vehicle for 30 days. Take your license. Take your license for 30 days. Take your vehicle for 14. Okay. Merc City 910 says, are you really allowed to go 5 kilometers over the speed limit? I added kilometers. They didn't. Simon Pegg, thank you very much, Akila. That was the name that I could not conjure. Okay, so the answer to the question of are you really allowed to go 5? No, you're not allowed to go 5. 5 is against the law. 1 is against the law. You're not allowed to speed. Speeding, not lawful. So why in a recent video did I say you probably won't get pulled over? Because there's so many people going faster than 5, you probably won't get noticed. We're not focused on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers an hour. Truthfully, we're looking for people who are putting lives at risk, but that doesn't mean it's lawful. That doesn't mean you should be doing it. Don't speed. Wild Child says you no longer have protect and service on cars. I think it says protect and serve, doesn't it? Or maybe that's not our slogan. I think it's York Region's slogan. What do we have on our cars? Did they take it really off? I don't know. They changed the livery of the cars, so maybe they didn't put it on. Kim McLeod Cochran says, love the show. Very informative. Thank you very much. They're from snowy Baddock, Cape Breton. That's awesome. Interprovincial show today. We had lots of people from all over the place, but I've never had someone from snowy Baddock, and I don't know if I've said that properly, but now I want to go see where you are on a map. That's awesome. I'm writing it down. Snowy Baddock. Okay. Can you mount plates on the sides of your bumper? Sides, like off-center, or sides facing the side of your car? They do not have to be centered. So as long as they are horizontal, you can't rotate them. But if they're horizontal, you can move them to either side. Tow hook adapters are perfectly fine. Yeah, you're talking about centered. Okay, livestock hauler question. Do we follow the HTA laws on animal right laws in case of HOS? I don't know. That's something that's outside of my scope of stuff I know. I don't know about hauling animals. Paradise says, I remember days ago I didn't pay my stop sign ticket. What are my next steps? If it's more than 15 days and it's gone through the process, you may have been convicted. As a result, you may have ticket owing. So go to the ministry and you can pay your ticket. Go to any bank, you should be able to pay your ticket even though it's late. They may not have suspended your license yet. However, you may want to check to make sure you haven't been suspended. Now, Paradise says, I got a stop sign ticket last year. Then you may have some problems. Definitely look into that. Wild Child says he hasn't answered any real questions. I'm answering the questions as they come. If there's real, what constitutes a real question? These aren't fake questions. If I'm male and have long hair, can I still become a police officer? There are standards in which you have to be presentable in uniform, but you can have long hair. People tie it up. It used to be that wouldn't be acceptable, but apparently now it is. I've seen some people with man buns. It's not my thing, but hey, as long as it's approved, and that's a thing. Prelude says, I got a question. Say I'm a cop and I see you're a cop car driving and you're speeding. Can I give you a ticket? So we've had a police car that was impounded for stunt driving. We've had a fire truck. I say we, the OPP, had a fire truck that was impounded for stunt driving. They have different rules as to when they can speed. Police car, I'm pretty positive. I read up a story that was a police officer impounded another police officer's car. That's interesting. But police officers are legally permitted to exceed the posted speed limit in the lawful execution of their duty. They'd have to be able to confirm that it wasn't lawful. Like, were they speeding to get Tim Hortons? That would not be lawful. If they're speeding to a call and get called off of that call, we announce on the air that we have sufficient number of officers. Then going to Tim Hortons after they've been called off would be lawful. So it all depends. Vehicle Valley says, I didn't know you were on Telegram. I'll go join it. And that is who just joined. That's Chase. Okay. Okay, RTMS. No, Greg Marshall says that they were pulled over for no taillight. Ran plates, just asked to fix. Cool. Okay. Oh, there were discussion. So, okay. This is something that people don't understand, and I get it because YS Brazzi says if the police car has no emergency lights on, then you'd be able to pull them over. No. This is, again, the scenario that if you're a police officer pulling over another police officer. So you can pull anybody over, right? You can pull over another police officer. But police don't require police lights to be on in order to exceed the posted speed limit. It really confuses people. We don't need to be going to an emergency. Just traffic patrol and enforcement is sufficient reason to be exceeding the posted speed limit. Lights are not required unless you're going through a signalized intersection that is displaying a red light. In other words, we're coming up to a red light. We need to go through it. Lights and sirens on, come to a complete stop, look both ways, ensure it's safe, and then proceed. And then we can turn off the lights again because we don't need lights on. And then Prelude says, oh, so it's fine for them to speed, but not for me. You got it, Pontiac. That's exactly what we're saying. There's an exclusion under the exemption or exclusion under the Highway Traffic Act that allows police, fire, and ambulance under different circumstances to exceed the posted speed limit. That does not apply to you as a civilian. So yes, it is absolutely correct when you say that it's okay for police and not for you. And it really bugs people that there is something that we can do that you can't do. Most people can't carry firearms. We can. Most people can't arrest for the same reasons we can arrest. If citizens' arrests are not the same as police officers' powers of arrest, we have different privileges as police officers because we do a different job. We need to do things in order to do our job. Yeah. And they said, that's not fair. Tough noogies. What do you mean it's not fair? Are you kidding me? You want to join the police service and have the responsibilities that we have, and the responsibilities are to enforce laws and to get places, quickly, to respond to calls for service that are usually emergency in nature. Yeah. You want to put your life at risk every single day? Yeah. These are all things that come with it. And it's not because we're getting to go faster so we can have fun. It's going faster because we're doing our job. Anyway, I have enough of that. They don't get it. I love it. Boy, really, they're really upset about that, specifically Prelude. Okay. What do we got here? I think everything's been asked in here. Thorn in your side says traffic cameras are banned here. Where are you? I think we need way more. Scrolling through, just trying to find some stuff that stands out as stuff to talk about. Can you pass a stopped school bus picking up in the private driveway of a townhouse complex? Why would you want to put children at risk? Like, does the law apply on private property? I imagine not. I imagine you could technically not get charged, but boy, when you cause the loss of life, your lawsuit would be life-changing, wouldn't it now? I don't think it's enforceable on private property, but that doesn't matter. Just do the right thing. Jess Vandermuren says, good morning. Good morning to you. Oh, Vehicle Valley says, if the front of the driveway is on your side of the road, then this you'd have to stop. Okay. Oh, I see Otterly saying that other people are doing it. I would call the local police and say, hey, this is an issue. Really, the bus driver is probably making the bigger error of using the private property to pick up. They should probably pick up at the corner of the street and then shut down the whole street to do it. I'm not a school bus driver. Maybe Michael has an opinion on this because he has his school bus license. But I think that's interesting risk. Okay. Roberta is going to share the video on Facebook. Awesome. Jack and Clifford wants to know if, they specifically, here, I'll put the question on the screen because I can. They want to know about underglow. Can I have white underglow on my truck? Is it allowed while driving at all? It's a funny situation, that underglow stuff. And it's a funny situation because it depends. If the bulbs are visible and you're doing anything other than a light glow on the ground, then you're breaking the law because you're projecting light forward, back. You can't have the bulbs visible. I would suggest against having the lights on while you're driving. But again, if it's a hint of white on the bottom, I don't really have a problem with it. The big issue is going to be whether or not that white light is visible to the rear. It's not lawful to shine white light to the rear, other than that of the license plate light, which is only 3 candela of power. So here's our school bus operator. If they pass a school bus on private street in a gated community or something, there is still dangerous driving under the criminal code if you endanger children and parents. Yeah, so it wouldn't be HTA enforceable, which is what I thought. Makes sense. And yes, criminal dangerous driving applies to everywhere, but chances are, I would hope, that they wouldn't be driving at high speed. Doesn't look like it's enforceable. So really, this is a tactical consideration that the driver should be making better decisions as to where to stop. Okay. Dave says, police should go after left lane hogs. The police say those drivers are dangerous, but ignore them. They're dangerous in a sense that they're, holding up the path so that or would we say agents of chaos have to pass on the right, but the agents of chaos are the ones that deserve the tickets because they are the ones breaking the law? I mean, I agree 100%. If the person's doing 60 kilometers an hour in a 100 kilometer an hour zone or 60 kilometers an hour on a highway at all, that's unnecessary slow driving. That's a problem. So let's say 90. Are they doing 90 in the passing lane? Is the passing lane allow you to go faster than the posted speed limit? No. You're not allowed to speed in that lane. It's the same speed limit on all lanes. 100 kilometers an hour, 110 in some places. Can I drive on the highway, G1 license with a G2 driver? No. Ocean, come on. Really? If you have a G1 license, you must be accompanied with a G-class licensed driver with 4 years minimum experience that qualify. They have to have the freckles on their license. That's the 4 dots to the left of the mini-me photo in the right-hand corner of your driver's license. You can't drive on any road at all whatsoever without that supervising driver. If you're talking about the expressway, the controlled access highway, like a 401, the 400 series, then you can't even do that with a G-class licensed driver. You need to be with a professional instructor. Read the book. I don't know if you have your G1, I don't know how you got it, because that's something that's really major you got to know. And I get triggered, obviously triggered by that question, because wow, that's the minimum. That's the minimum thing you need to know. Okay, Paradise says, I have a disabled pass or a disability pass. Can I park on any street parking where applicable and don't need to pay? Is that true? In the city of Toronto, and every jurisdiction, every city is going to have different bylaws surrounding the accessible pass. And the answer is you can park anywhere that's no parking. Mind you, you still need to stay 9 meters away from any intersection, but you can park where it is legal. So you can park in no parking zones 9 meters away, and then you don't have to pay at street parking. That is true. Scrolling through. I said I was going to go 13 minutes ago, but here I am still talking. Den said, I received 2 tickets, failed to show proof of insurance and not displaying front license plate. Okay, those are both valid tickets. $65 for the proof of insurance and $110 for not displaying front license plate. Will it affect my insurance? That's the second part of the question. And the answer is both of those can affect your insurance, yes. They are document charges. They are considered minor in effect. They're minor. They're not speeding or aggressive driving. So they're minors, but multiple minor charges can affect your insurance because it's the insurance company that calculates your risk based on the charges you've received and convictions, I should say. They only see them when it's conviction. Okay. Drive-through, good username, by the way. Good morning. Is it illegal to operate a CB radio in a non-commercial vehicle, private automobile? So everything that I've read is that it's only legal in a commercial vehicle. That's where the exemption lies. But I would suggest going back and looking back at the intersection, the section of the HTA to see if it qualifies for you. I read it as specifically commercial motor vehicle, which would mean that you would not be eligible. CB radios, I would suggest a remote PTT, a speaker, and a permanently mounted microphone or a Bluetooth interface. Najit says, at what speed does it become a felony? You're in the United States based on felony. We don't do felony here. That's different terminology. We have indictable or summary or dual hybrid offenses. Anyway, the deal is, when does speed become criminal? It depends. Criminal is when you're putting people at risk. Speed differential is a big thing. Could it be 50 over? It could be. You could do 150 in a school zone. Could that be criminal? Absolutely. Stunt and criminal. So it all depends. Don't speed. Here's the simplest thing. People always want to know, how much can they speed? At what point? Just don't break the law. It's so simple. Don't do things that hurt other people or that have the risk of hurting other people. Because many people do stupid things that are illegal all day long, every day, and they don't hurt anybody, and they think that means it's okay. It's not. It just means you're being lucky, and you're due. And I mean due for charges and or hurting somebody. So don't do it. Stop now. Change your life. Alex says, good morning. If you're in a car with someone that was drinking, will you be in trouble as well? So you're the passenger with an impaired driver, and you're worried about getting in trouble? Are you worrying about getting killed or injured, maimed? It's usually the passenger that gets killed anyway. So, that's not a smart move. Don't get in a car with someone who's impaired. In fact, shun them, make fun of them, guilt them, whatever it is to prevent them from driving. If they've been drinking, get them away from the car. Take their keys, and you don't use them either. Okay. Vehicle Valley was on the money saying that's the point of having a safe, sober driver if you're drinking. Yeah. There it is. Says, do you need a passenger side mirror in your vehicle? Not if you have a rear view mirror attached to the window. For certification, you either need to have one driver side and one attached to the windshield, or two mirrors. So sometimes you do, but it depends. That's for certification. The thorn in your side says, my Jeep has 5% tint all the way around. Glad I don't live in Canada. Me too, because your car would be illegal. Actually, I mean, 5% tint is way too dark. It's unsafe. We take your plates. Human Online says, this is a fantastic service you provide. Well, I'm glad you think so. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. Yes, Caleb, in the discussion of CB radio, ham radio operators have an exemption. It's not just had, they still do, but not CB operators. So ham radio as an amateur radio licensed operator would have. Oh, and let's see here. What is this? Oh, an act to amend the Highway Traffic Act to prohibit passing on highway painted with double yellow lines. Apparently, it's in the works. It's an active bill. It has not reached lower Senate. We'll have to talk about that. That's cool. So we are the only province in Canada that doesn't have a charge for crossing a line. And that's about to change if this goes through. Very cool. Smurfette wants to know if there's a medical exemption for window tint. There is not in Ontario. So whatever the law is, the law is. There's no get out of jail free or get out of ticket letter you can get from your doctor. No exemptions in Ontario. Nick wants to know if classic cars are exempt from loud exhausts. No, loud noise is not. There's no exemption on loud noise. If your vehicle didn't come with an exhaust because none was required at the date of its manufacture, then it wouldn't require an exhaust. Muffler, for instance, if it was predating muffler requirements, but there's probably something else it would require. There's all sorts of different technologies. Whatever the vehicle was manufactured with is what you got to have, that or better. Scrolling. Vehicle Valley says you must have at least one rear view facing mirror. And that's true for charges. But in terms of, we were talking earlier about you need to have a driver's side and a passenger side mirror. You need to have one rear facing mirror to avoid a ticket. You have to have a clear view to the rear by at least one mirror. But anyway, certification requires you to have two. Or is it for new vehicles? Anyway. Is it legal to talk about operating the controls might be a distraction? Not sure what we're talking there. Do we offer a ride-along program for Police Foundation's college students? You can certainly request one, and a sergeant can take you out. I don't do ride-alongs. I don't go on the road. I'd look forward to one day being able to go on the road again. Okay. What's the difference between careless and reckless? Well, we don't have reckless driving here. We have careless driving and criminal dangerous driving. Careless and reckless is pretty much the same thing. Just careless is undue care and attention. Reckless, I've not read the U.S. definition. Okay. Greg Marshall says headlights must be white, but you can have additional fog lights. But those additional fog lights can only be white or amber, nothing else. Supermarket says, my friend got hit by a car. How much can she sue for? The maximum in the province of Ontario is $2 million. That's the maximum you're permitted to sue for. And there are a huge standards. I think there's a $50,000 what's it called? Deductible. So let's say your friend sues, they get awarded $50,000. They would actually get nothing because the deductible is $50,000. Yeah. So to get $50,000, they'd have to be awarded $100,000 by the courts. What do we got here? That brings me to the end of the Word document. And that means that we're going to wrap stuff up. Before I do that, I really want to see what's going on with the employment unit. I want to see what's happening in terms of what jobs are posting today. I try and talk about it every day. I try and talk about the options, the opportunities. So when you go to www.tps.ca/careers, you will be brought to this magical webpage that has all sorts of information, everything you'd ever want to know about becoming a police constable. You just click on that little thing and you see, look, apply now. You can go and apply for a job here as a police officer. All the information of requirements, and how to get in touch with a recruiting officer, all there. But I like looking at this other page. It's the civilian roles, because it covers pretty much everything else. Because we're not always hiring for these roles, but we're currently hiring for 6 of them. Communications operator is one of them. Digital evidence management operator, financial strategies and project advisors, service person, temporary administrative clerk, I guess, for talent acquisition, and a member of the developer in the digital team. So there you go. 6 positions last week. It was 9. Obviously, they expire. You see, when you look at these, and let's look at one. Here's service person. This is the information about the job. You could be making between $83,735 and $86,326, working a 40-hour week. There's currently 2 vacancies, and guess what? You have to apply by today. You apply online. But if you want this job, doing what they're talking about here in the description, well, then you need to apply today because tomorrow it closes. And whomever has applied will be evaluated and reviewed for that based on their qualifications. And if you haven't applied, well, you're not in the running. Sorry. Yeah. Jobs, listings come and go. If you want an opportunity, you got to be in the game to play. Thanks very much. We're going to do dad jokes now because we can. First, the Yogi Berra quote from Michaela. Slump? I ain't in no slump. I just ain't hitting. Starting to run low on these. Yes, Kayla has the world's largest collection of Yogi Berra quotes, and even he is running short. Did you hear about the guy who stole a calendar? He got 12 months. I think that's pretty good. I don't mind that. So, my partner asked me to take the spider out instead of killing it. We had a few drinks. Pretty cool guy. He says he works as a web developer. That's pretty good too. I like that there's the jokes from Michaela tend to be very computer oriented or technology oriented. I like that. I used to work for a company called Delrina, and Delrina used to have a particular screensaver as one of the things that it sold. Does anybody know the name of the comic strip? Any? I'm going to check here. Wait, Akela, do you know the comic strip that was a screensaver? I'm going to put it on screen. Here it is. Putting it on screen. I haven't seen any guesses. But this is the product that at one point in my life I supported. The Dilbert. No, it's not the right one. Dilbert is what I was talking about. No, I you know what? We also had the Far Side, but it was Dilbert that I was referring to. Come on. Really? Dilbert. See, Dilbert. That's what I was talking about. We had a couple of other ones. I just got excited and went too quick in terms of putting up pictures on the screen. There was all of these. Yeah, there it is. There's the Dilbert one. Yeah. So it was a cool software company that I worked for right here in Toronto. They were bought by a company called, what was it called? They make Symantec. Yes, I went to work for Symantec afterwards. I was a computer guy, and I lived to tell the tale. Here's a dad joke from Zombie. To whoever stole my wig, there will be hell to pay. You have a theme of these too. It's always about something being stolen. Let's see here. Okay. Well, that's all of them. There's no more. All right, as per usual. Oh, see, Kayla was on it. Dilbert calendar has been discontinued. I had those on my bulletin board every year. Yeah, Scott, what's his name? Scott something. Who's the artist? I'm pretty sure it's Scott. Anyway. Now I want to go through and read hundreds of comics and reminisce about days in technology. Okay. Scott Adams. There we go. See? This is a hive brain thing. We're like the Borg. Scott Adams. See? We know stuff. So as per usual, it's been a pleasure. We'll be back again tomorrow. Looking forward to it. We'll do this thing from 10 o'clock. We'll start at 10 o'clock. And if you can't make it at 10, you can always watch the replay. You can download the replay at TrafficCop.ca. You can go to all of our social media stuff. You can follow us everywhere. And if you go and do that, well, that just makes you an awesome person. Just, it's what it is. Hungry Mac. Oh, Hungry Maco Entertainment says, which traffic cop is on TikTok? No one cares. Except you're watching me, Bobo. That's funny. Let's see here. Angie says, thank you for doing what you do. You're most welcome. It is my pleasure to be able to serve y'all. Just backstory, because if you don't know who I am or what I do, I do this to answer traffic and police questions because I can't go on the road anymore. I was injured in a motorcycle collision when I was in the motor squad, and as a result, I'm not on the road, which means I had to find something that was meaningful. And helping people on social media, answering their traffic and police questions, I think is very meaningful. I get a lot out of it, and I hope you do too. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, drive safely, drive sober, park legally, and smile because it looks good on you. Have a great day.
Safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
That's it. That's all. Too many buttons.